From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Less Levine, it's a Wednesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Less Levine in its 25th consecutive season, and of course, seen and powered by cleveland.com. It is Wednesday. That means the D-Man, Dennis Manoloff, is here. Hello, D-Man. How are you?
Hello, great one. How are you?
I'm doing well. Of course, you're getting ready to do another double header with the radio tonight. What time and where?
I'll be on after the Cavs game, approximately 10 o'clock, 10 to mid. That's why I'm doing tonight's pod from home as opposed to in the studio.
So that's Cavaliers who are what, 2-0 now?
Yeah, two more preseason games to go, both on the road. This one's against the Knicks, and yeah, I mean it's interesting because so many guys are out tonight that didn't even make the trip. I don't think from Cleveland, so
Yeah,
I don't expect.
I don't want to really talk about the Cavs tonight. We can do that next week and the week after that. But don't you think they're not being fair by keeping Kevin Love in here when Kevin Love deserves a chance to play for something that means something?
Well, that's possible, Les, but there's also the possibility that they have been trying to move him and there just aren't any takers. I mean, that's a difficult salary to have to move. And, it is entirely feasible that the Cavs have been trying to move him. They just can't find a suitor.
216-575-0403, the number to call. You can also email us during the show, and that would be at reallesslevine@gmail.com. All right, D-Man, we haven't talked since Monday night, the classic game down at the stadium. What did we see, and what did it all mean on Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, we saw a loss, of course, 47-42. The actual final could probably be 45-42 because of that safety after the multiple laterals. But you get the point, though. It was a high-scoring affair. One of the more entertaining games I've watched involving the Browns, certainly since '99, certainly since post Kosar. The problem, of course, is that the defense is springing leaks all over the place. Think about the last half against Tennessee when the Titans scored, I want to say 28, because the final was 41-35, and the halftime score was 38-7. So in the last 6 quarters of football, the Browns defense has been really bad. And I get that one of the touchdowns was essentially a pick six because Tyus Bowser, the interceptor, got tackled at the 1-yard line, and they punched it in the next play. But the defense is certainly not playoff caliber. The good news, though, is that the offense really looked good. Baker Mayfield looked terrific, especially in the second half. And, clearly his teammates believe in him and are rallying around him.
All right, so can there be any people out there who don't think he's the guy? I mean, I don't know what else he has to do to prove it.
Yeah, Les, there are. I mean, I saw some critics. I was doing the post-game show Monday night, and, some of the critics were like, oh, this guy hasn't beaten anybody. I mean, here's another opportunity for him to win against a quality team, and he didn't do it, except for the fact that he more than did his job. I mean, when you help your offense score 42 points, that should be enough. I agree with you. I think Baker is the guy going forward. Do I think he is the greatest quarterback ever? No. Is he a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now? No. But you know what? When you talk about a second tier or at worst a third tier where the lowest you go in the NFL rankings among quarterbacks is probably 12 or 13, I'm good to go with that, because you can win a lot of games with a quarterback who is, I don't know, 12th to 13th best in the NFL, as long as you have good coaching and a good system, and Baker does. And by the way, at the moment, I'm seeing him as maybe 11, 12, 13th best in the NFL. That doesn't mean he can't move up. It just means that he's nowhere close to being a guy where you say, oh, geez, we got to move on from him.
First of all, I heard somebody say he's just a clock or game manager. If your team is that good around him, there's nothing. You don't need anything more than a game manager. That's exactly what you want. He doesn't have to win football games for this team the way it's set up. What he's got to do is keep the ball on the field so that when the defense is put to the task, they're able to be up to it. And right now, that hasn't been the case.
You're right, Les. But here's where Les, Baker Mayfield defenders would come into play, including me. The last 2 weeks, Baker Mayfield has had an opportunity to tell people or show people, hey, when I was needed to throw the ball, I was pretty darn good. When my team needed me to put up a lot of points, I did it in back-to-back games, one against, a playoff team, so if not a playoff team right on the fringe, the Tennessee Titans, and then the Baltimore Ravens, who are scrambling to try to get in, but are the two-time defending AFC North champion. So Baker could say, look, I have managed games this year, but I've also aired it out, including the last two games when his total offense, when you include his rushes, was right around 700 yards. So
and
Baker
his
he's
defense gave
impressed
up
me.
75 points.
What's that, Les?
Defense gave up 75 points in those two games.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? 47, subtract the safety, 45, then subtract essentially the pick six, 38, plus the 27. Yeah, I mean, at least 60 plus in the last 6 quarters. And that's not going to cut it. And that's too much of a hole for your offense to try to overcome.
How about the play that Baltimore made? If they don't win the game, they're essentially out of the postseason, right? And they got fourth down going, and they get I don't know how they threw that. It was a terrible pass by Jackson, and yet they pulled it off and get the first down on it, and then they go on to win the game. That's what championship teams do. They find a way to win that game, which the Browns haven't been able to do yet.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens could say, we put 47 on the Browns without a bunch of our key guys or some of our key guys injured in addition to other guys who weren't playing. And Lamar Jackson didn't really have to throw the ball a whole lot. He rushed for 124 yards, which the ESPN Monday Night Football people told us was the Monday Night Football record for a quarterback rushing the ball. Jackson was obviously a dual threat, running and throwing. So yeah, I mean, that fourth down, 4th and 5, I believe it was, with a little more than 2 minutes to go. If the Browns get home on their blitz and something happens and Jackson gets hit or throws it away, the Browns run out the clock pretty much, and the Ravens' season is effectively over.
And I heard some people after the game say the Browns shouldn't have scored so fast. You have in that league, you have to score when you can score. You can't. There are times when Nick Chubb did it a couple weeks ago when he stepped out of bounds not to score. That's a different story here. You got to get that lead. You got 1:04 remaining, and if you can't stop them, shame on your defense. And by the way, right. Everybody knew that field goal was going to be good. I don't care how much wind there was. That's one of the best kickers in the history of pro football.
Yeah, Justin Tucker. Correct. And the touchdown in question for the Browns, Kareem Hunt scoring it when he's twisting and diving to the pylon. I mean, there's no way that Hunt's going to have the presence of mind to say, oh, you know what? We're scoring too early here. And plus, you had to get in. You had no option but to score a touchdown. And so in no way would you ever step out at the one or intentionally go down and then try to score after that. You take the points and hope your defense holds. And that was the thing about that possession, the subsequent possession, the final possession of the game. The Ravens didn't really throw the ball barely at all the entire game. In that final possession, Jackson was, I believe, 4 for 5. And the one incompletion was a spike. He hit Andrews, somebody, and Andrews to get him down into field goal range.
I don't know if you saw it, but when Jackson was coming back out of the field after he was hurt, He's trying to get through the door down near the locker room, and some guy opened up the door. It looked like he was going to just. It looked like the Three Stooges for a minute there, but his ability to get out of the rush helped him out on that, and he goes in and throws
Les,
a incredible touchdown.
yeah, Les, that's fascinating. I saw the same thing. That guy nearly blasted into Jackson when he was coming out of the door. But you know what? I don't blame the Ravens for being thrilled about that game and how they won it. Obviously, keep their season alive. Very much a realistic playoff team now because the rest of their schedule is not very strong. And Lamar Jackson did on Monday night what MVPs do. You know,
Yeah.
he led his team. He figured out a way to score 45 and then the safety, but he did it running and passing, and he did it coming back out of the locker room after having to exit.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you want to talk to Dennis Manoloff. You'll be able to talk to him a little bit later on WTAM 1100. And right now you can give him a call or send us an email at the email address that you see at the bottom of your screen, reallesslevine@gmail.com. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. More Sports and Less Levine is powered exclusively by cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine. It's becoming very clear that the Browns' defense just needs to be better for the Browns to be a legitimate playoff team capable of competing with the NFL's best. The Ravens got the ball with a little over a minute left in the game, and the defense, while banged up and missing some key pieces, failed to make a play to stop them and win the game, period.
Our standard doesn't change regardless of who's in there. last night we, again, just didn't get it done. There's a few plays that I know I've seen our guys make before. We didn't make them last night. Their guys made plays, but I wouldn't overstate who's in there and who's not in there. We just got to make sure that we do our job regardless of who's in there.
The Browns are one of the easiest defenses to score on in the entire NFL. It's true they've been beat up much of the year on that side of the ball, but only the Jaguars, Lions, Raiders, Jets, and Cowboys have given up more points. Those teams are a combined 17-39 on the year, and not the NFL neighborhood the Browns want to be in. The Browns' defensive line has been pretty good, but it needs to be dominant for this defense to be just average. Against the run, the Browns are in the middle of the pack in the NFL, having given up just under 1,500 yards rushing. They're a little worse against the pass, 20th in the league. It's a bend but don't break kind of thing because it has to be due to talent at this point in time. The Browns' defense has been very good at creating turnovers, forcing 20 of them on the season so far. And the Browns are a +6 in giveaway takeaway. The Steelers are best in the NFL at +11. The Colts, Dolphins, Titans, and Chiefs are ahead of the Browns, and that's the kind of NFL neighborhood the Browns want to be in if they plan on being a factor in the playoffs.
Good job by Dave Bacon with his Bacon Bits feature. You can hear that and see that throughout the week here on More Sports and Less Levine. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Dennis Manoloff is here tonight. D-Man, when you look at this North Division, the AFC North, and you've got the Browns who look like they were in a perfect lock to at least get to the postseason, and now and Pittsburgh going undefeated up until 2 weeks ago, and Baltimore about ready to hang them all up, and that whole division has changed completely or radically in the last week and a half.
Yeah, I was really excited about the possibilities for the Browns in the AFC North after the Steelers got beat in Buffalo, in Orchard Park, New York, by the Bills, and had dropped 2 in a row to fall to 11-2. And here were the Browns at 9-3 with a chance to pull within one game if they beat the Ravens. And instead, I think the AFC North is probably a pipe dream. Maybe it's still alive, but Steelers have a 2-game lead with 3 to play. Admittedly, they play the Browns in the final week. But I think the Steelers are going to win the division, and the Ravens stay alive now, very much alive, because they have a favorable schedule down the stretch. But here's the thing. The Browns can't worry about any of that now. They just have to go beat the Giants on Sunday night. And by the way, a Giants team that might very well feature none other than Colt McCoy at quarterback, because Daniel Jones is dealing with an injury. So we might see Colt McCoy against Baker Mayfield on Sunday Night Football.
He just appeared out of nowhere. And, of course, their ends coach is Freddie Kitchens, so that'll be interesting also. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Cuyahoga Falls for Kim. Kim, go ahead. You're on with D-Man Dennis Manoloff.
Hey, Les. Hey, Dennis. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Kim?
Doing well. I've been a long-time viewer, long-time fan of your show, so I'm happy to see you guys are still going.
Thank you.
So I want to obviously talk about the Browns. I think big picture, just kind of reflecting on the first 13 games in this season. The fact that I think for the first time we have a GM, head coach, and I guess you can throw in Paul DePodesta. They all seem to be on the same page. They're all Ivy League guys. There's always been some sort of internal fighting with the Browns organization, which is really held them back, obviously. I feel like we finally, have the right guys in place. I think you got to give.
Yeah, the problem with that. The problem is that is the guy before them is the guy who picked the most important part of the roster, and that's Dorsey picking Baker Mayfield. Now, that's not to say they're not all in favor of him or all behind him, but he wasn't their guy from the beginning.
True. I mean, that's a good point. But I think Kevin Stefanski's obviously done a really nice job with tailoring an offense to Baker's strengths, and they obviously invested in in the offensive line and, re-upped Kareem Hunt, which has been a really nice addition to being able to kind of spell Nick Chubb and not wear him down as the season goes on.
So Kim, we know where
I
they're
wanted
at.
to ask you guys, I've been reading. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, as a fan, longtime fan, what are you thinking? Where are they in this thing? Are they in position to make the postseason? Because if they don't, it's going to be awfully disappointing to an awful lot of people.
No, you're right. No, I definitely think they're with the favorable schedule that they have these next 2 games, and I think Pittsburgh's beatable depending on how they decide to go about Week 17 if they're going to rest their starters. And I'd rather obviously keep the Steelers at full strength, but I guess we'll see how that goes.
Well, you want to win.
But I think at this point, I would probably be disappointed if the Browns would make the playoffs. But I mean, right now, they're going to get to double-digit wins, and I think we all have signed up for that at the beginning of the season. So, but I'm glad you mentioned that because it kind of led into my final question for you guys. So I've been doing some reading on just the different AFC playoff scenarios, with tiebreakers and whatnot. So let's just say, for instance, the Browns, the Colts, and the Ravens all finish 11-5. So it doesn't matter which order, 5, 6, 7 for the 3 wild card spots. Does head-to-head come into play with the Browns beating the Colts? I've been reading some conflicting content online about what happens if there's a 3-way tie between multiple wild card teams. You guys address that.
The head-to-head changes at that point if it's 3 instead of 2. So you're going to just have to see what the Cleveland gets a game here against the Jets, which is a conference game, so maybe that adds into it. So I think we just wait and play it out and see what happens. Kim, great to talk to you. Thank you for the call. 216-575.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You know what? It's great talking playoffs when they mean something. It's not like you have to have too many things happen to go your way for you to find a way into the postseason. It's laid out for them. They win 2 games and they're there. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, and I really appreciate Kim doing the deep dive. Checking to see what the tiebreakers look like, because that shows you his passion and his intensity as a fan. And yes, it does change, as Les pointed out. It changes from a head-to-head to a 3-way tie to a 4-way tie. There's different criteria or different prioritized criteria. I just know, I've said this from the moment they beat them, Les. I think that the victory over the Colts is going to prove to be ginormous. Something tells me the Browns and the Colts are going to be tied. I hope I'm wrong, because they should be at 11 wins, which would be a lock. But if it's 10, something tells me that win over the Colts is going to be enormous for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, the Browns have the edge in a couple of other areas as it shakes down. I think we just watch it, and when it's over, they'll tell us. That's a pretty simple way to handle it. Let's take a break. Thanks to Kim, first-time caller from Cuyahoga Falls. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively right here. And that, of course, would be cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Well, first of all, I couldn't be happier for the fans of Cleveland. They've waited a long time to have something like that to go to the games and cheer for. But, there's no two teams ever the same. We say that every year. This team's playing very well. They're very talented. They've always been very talented. They're well coached. They're playing hard. They're doing all the things necessary to have a successful season, and that's what they've been doing.
And what do you make of Baker's progress? What do you see him doing this year? How has he grown as a player, a guy you obviously worked with and spent a lot of time with while you were there?
Well, Baker's done a tremendous job of getting better, each and every year with little things, and taking care of the football is the biggest thing he's doing this year. That was different than last year, and when you take care of the football in this league, you have a great chance to win.
There you go, Freddie Kitchens chiming in on Baker Mayfield. When you think about it, John Dorsey picked Freddie, and he picked him over Stefanski. Do you wonder how that ever happened?
Yeah, you do. In retrospect, of course, it looks terrible. The 1 year that Kitchens was head coach, it was just not good. And Freddie Kitchens was struggling. Now, I'll say this. I don't know of anybody who doesn't like Freddie Kitchens, the person. The criticisms directed at Freddie Kitchens were never personal that I know of from anyone. They were just about job performance. And so, it's not surprising that, he says nice things about the Browns and about Baker in particular. But regarding his hire, I mean, that was a John Dorsey hire, going with a football guy over the analytics, and DePodesta's choice, which was Kevin Stefanski. And obviously, Paul DePodesta looks like the smart guy that he is, because Kevin Stefanski is a coach of the year candidate, while Kitchens was blown out after 1 year. And that allows me to say this, Les, and Kim touched on it by mentioning the Haslams and Paul DePodesta. A tremendous job by Paul DePodesta to identify Kevin Stefanski, number one, and then, he hung around in the Browns organization long enough to pound the table to have him hired the second time, and finally give him a shot. So Paul DePodesta, to me, more than anybody in that organization, deserves credit for Kevin Stefanski coming to Cleveland.
I think the way this thing came out, that if Dorsey decided to go with Stefanski, I don't think the outcome would have been any different. I think that probably there might have been a firing of Dorsey, and there's no guarantee if the Browns front office was going to make the decision, then that decision probably would have been to go ahead and make the change and give it to Stefanski. I just wonder what that year in between had to do with anything, and whether or not it was Dorsey who said, just give me a chance, give me 1 year on this guy, because I know you're not going to keep me as your guy if it doesn't work out. And I think that's how it shook down.
Great question. Great question. Great hypothesis by you, Les.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. What kind of game do you expect on Monday night? I'm not asking for a score, but do you think the Browns are going to, because they played so many tough games in recent days and not much rest time, do you think they're going to just try to run the ball? Do you think they're mixing it up? Do you think, they're almost asking themselves to put themselves into trouble if you're going to throw the ball too much?
Yeah, the Sunday night game, exciting to be flexed in while the Cowboys get flexed out. I was reading on Twitter from some notable national guys. The real America's team gets flexed in on Sunday night, and
Right.
Dallas gets booted out. That's always fun.
It could
But
happen.
as far as what's that, Les?
I was going to say the Browns could become the new America's team if the Cowboys don't ramp it up a little bit here.
Yeah, but then again, the Ravens are like, oh, really? Well, we just swept them in the season series. So,
yeah, but I don't think people like it. I don't think to be the America's team, you got to have people liking you, and I don't think that Baltimore's a very likable team for a variety of reasons. Let's go. We have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't call us when we're on the air, you can leave a message for us. And Ron from let's see what Ron had to say tonight.
Hi, Les. This is Ron Byer. Les, another game that ends where we feel very proud to be Browns fans, but again with a huge disappointment. But this time I feel it's different with this team. With Coach Stefanski in command, I believe huge success is ahead. Les, one thing I know for sure is that we need to get Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb in a room together and get a long-term contract signed for both players for us to be contenders on a yearly basis.
Well, what do you think about that, D-Man? You know, it's tough. It's about the money, and the money is tough for a running back because they don't last as long as other position players do. So you've got Kareem Hunt signed, and you're going to have to sign Baker. And what do you do with Hunt? I mean, with
Chubb.
Yeah, with Chubb. What do you do?
Well, I think you have to sign Nick Chubb to a long-term deal or a lucrative deal. And if I'm Chubb's people, I'm knocking on the Browns' door yesterday saying, let's go. I mean, for the exact reason that you said, Les, Nick Chubb is a great back, but even the great backs can potentially have a shorter shelf life than the rest of their NFL colleagues at other positions. So if I'm a running back and I've proven anything in the league, even if it's 1 year, I'm trying to get as much cash as I can. And meanwhile, you've got to commit to Baker soon, and I think they will. There's only so much cash to go around, though. I mean, there's a salary cap for a reason. You can't pay everybody. You just pay Miles. And, so it's going to be, there are going to be decisions that have to be made by these front office guys.
Let's see how they can come with a decision to not sign Chubb and to not sign Baker Mayfield. I don't see how you can go from where you're at to where you want to be without those guys playing today.
Agreed. Those are like the terrific trio, the backbone of the club. And, I know some people would want to throw in, for example, a Denzel Ward, but I just haven't seen enough of him on the field. He's got to be available 16 games a year before I start to crown him. And the other, it's more than 1 year in a row. But the other one you would think, is OBJ, of course, who is getting his money, who got his money in that Giants contract. But if you're going to commit money to anybody on the Browns, it should be Garrett, Chubb, and Mayfield.
Yeah, Denzel Ward has missed at least 3 games a year the past 3 years. You can't afford to do that, tie up that kind of money and not have him play. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We're going to talk about more sports, and Les Levine continues right here on cleveland.com.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your 4-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This date in sports history, December 16th, 1972, the Miami Dolphins defeat the Baltimore Colts 16-0 to finish the regular season with a 14-0 record. They went on to stay undefeated. D-Man, you remember who Miami beat the game before that?
Would that be the Cleveland Browns?
It would be the Cleveland Browns.
Close game?
Yep. I think the final score was 20. D-Man, or Brian, what was it? What was the final on that? Yeah, 20-14, the Browns lost. Mike Phipps was the quarterback for the Browns that day. He threw 1 touchdown and 5 interceptions.
Hey, Les, I got a this day in sports history. If memory serves, this day in sports history, 2001 at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, the Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars in Bottlegate. 19th anniversary of Bottlegate.
Bottlegate. I was on the field. I was on the field for that, and it never dawned on me I'm going to get hit by a bottle. You know, in those days, they let the media down on the field.
That's right. You and I were down there, and what I did was I wanted to make sure that I was where the action was, so I positioned myself right next to where the officials went, the tunnel that the officials went under.
You were going to take a hit?
What's that?
You were going to take a hit?
I got 3. I got hit by 3 bottles, 2 glancing blows, 1 pretty much conked me. But they were hard plastic, though. This wasn't glass.
Yeah, I mean, policy told us it didn't. Those bottles didn't pack a wallop.
Exactly.
That's going to be when we write the book. That's going to be one of the top 10 statements made by a front office staffer. That he goes and says, "Well, they don't pack much of a wallop." Well, not if you had as much to drink as some of those guys did at the podium.
And Les, here's the thing: I'm thrilled because I'm forever on the NFL video, the NFL Films video. I'm the guy in the beige coat who's standing right next to where Terry McAuley runs under the awning. Right. I'm in the beige coat and I'm going like this. So anybody who watches it on YouTube, worldwide audience for Les, look for the guy in the beige coat as the refs are leaving the field.
You know, I was there. Foge Fazio was the defensive coordinator for the Browns, and what they had to do because it got so crazy, the teams went off the field, went to the locker room thinking the game was over, and
That's right.
because of all the rules with Las Vegas and everything else, you can't just stop a game. You have to finish it. So a half hour after that game supposedly ended, they had to bring everybody else back and just run a play. I don't know if they ran a quarterback sneak or took a knee, but they had to get an extra play in.
I think it was 2 kneel downs by Brunell. And Les, my assignment that day, before we knew what was going to happen, was the Jacksonville Jaguars locker room. So I go into the coach's presser with Tom Coughlin, and Coughlin's getting ready to talk to us, and all of a sudden, an official from either the NFL or his team said, "Hey, Coach, we got to go back out there and officially finish this game." And the look on Coughlin's face was like, "What?" So I wound up walking. What's that, Les?
They never gave them handbooks when they became NFL coaches.
No, exactly. And here's the thing, Les. It was one of the cooler moments for me. I got to walk as we moved toward coming out onto the field. I was walking with Mark Brunell. And I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And it's like me chatting with a guy on the street. I'm like, "This is crazy, isn't it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've never seen anything like it."
And you're the D-man, right?
Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, D-man, right."
On behalf of More Sports and Less Levine, I have to take this gentleman to task. Let's go to Mr. Gullible. Mr. Gullible, how are you?
Great show, Les.
Don't butter me up, Gullible. You know what you did.
Great show, Les.
I know it is. But
you always pack a wallop. That was a heck of a memory, D-man. Thanks for taking us down that memory lane. That was crazy. Hey, if you guys can, if you have time, I'd like to try to make 4 quick points if I can.
Yeah,
Number one, I was exhausted all day yesterday. I was going crazy Monday night. I was keeping Mrs. Gullible up with all my yelling and hooting and hollering. It was reminiscent of the 1986 double overtime win of the Jets, which I was there. And then, unfortunately, I was there the following week, the Elway's drive. But I tell you, that was one for the ages. Number 2, I've got to give all the props in the world.
He knows he's stretching it out until I give up what I'm going to say. Gullible, you know you can't turn in one that I'm not going to accept. You know it. Don't try it anymore. You want to give me
tonight?
No, tonight? I don't know. Tonight, I think you're on hiatus because of what you did.
Well, I don't know which one you're talking about. I hope the one tonight passes through.
I just told you I'm banning the quickie, and now you want me to tell you which one it is?
I don't. You can't. Don't make it a truncated quickie.
Okay, hold on a second, D-Man. You remember the classic Bob Knight interview with Jeremy Schaap? You remember that?
Yes.
All right. Schaap had 1 hour to be with him, and Bob Knight was the best clock user that night. And anytime he could answer a question and stretch it out, that's what he did. So they couldn't ask him the tough questions. Gullible is coming in. He tries 5 times in a row to get in a bad quickie. Not bad, but bad on the edge. And he does it thinking, Les won't notice it tonight. He's in a hurry. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I notice everything you write. You can't do it, or I'm going to have to have you banned. I'm going to have your computer taken away.
I disavow any knowledge of what you're speaking. Okay. Number 2, Baker Mayfield. I got to give him all the props in the world. When they first drafted him in the following year, with all his shenanigans, I thought he was going to be just Johnny Manziel Part 2. That guy has shown me such gut and such grit. I got to get him all the props in the world. They need to sign him to that next contract.
Management, you got 30 seconds to finish up. You got 30 seconds starting now.
Okay, number 3, Cody Parkey. He's had a very solid season so far. I would not have him looking over his shoulders, even though I know NFL stands for not for long. And okay, I want to get you guys real quick. What's your favorite Christmas movie? And I'll give you mine.
Die Hard.
D-Man, what do you got?
Christmas Story.
Can't hear.
Christmas Story.
Christmas Story.
Christmas Story? I don't know. What are we doing on Die Hard? Is that ruled a Christmas story or not? Is that ruled a Christmas movie or not?
Depends.
I mean, they're going to the Christmas party.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful. Da 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 da.
How about you, Les? Do you have one?
If you've been listening, I just gave you one.
Okay.
You know, I've had enough of you tonight, Gullible.
My favorite is Christmas Carol, the George C. Scott version. Every time I see the ending, it brings a tear to my eye.
You knew that was coming.
He's oblivious. Life just goes on to Gullible. Let's take a break. We're coming back 1 or 2 or 3 more. I don't know. Back in a moment, exclusively on wherever you're watching More Sports and Less Levine.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. Add more livable space, inhibit the growth of mold and mildew, and improve air quality for your family. It's the healthier, more beautiful basement floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your basement floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Birthdays for today. Tom Brookshire. Remember him as an announcer with the kicker.
Summerall, wasn't it?
Pat Summerall. Remember Brookie?
Oh, yeah.
Cliff Notes, 1947. Cliff Robinson, 1966. Alcides Escobar, David Johnson, and remember this guy who looked like he was going to be pretty good? Well, he's going to have a good year this year or you'll never hear from him again. That is Oscar Mercado. Hey, D-Man, I got to tell you something. When the pressure's on Gullible, he brings it.
Yes, he does.
I'll give him credit. He brought it tonight. He wasn't listening to me, but he did bring it. Let's go to Mary Kay, who's in Streetsboro. Go ahead, Mary Kay. Are you there?
Okay, I want your opinion on the 4 slots for the college football playoffs. You've got Clemson and Notre Dame playing. Clemson has a loss. Notre Dame's undefeated. You have Alabama and you have Ohio State. And Alabama's playing Florida. Now, if Florida wins and beats Alabama, Alabama will probably still be in the Final Four.
Right.
If Clemson loses to Notre Dame, I think Clemson should be knocked out because Florida would have beat the number 1 team. I'm just looking at the scenarios. And my gripe was the fact that Ohio State had no control of the schedule because of the pandemic and the COVID-19, and you still have the naysayers like Nick Saban, and you have Dabo Swinney, who I have a deep respect for, but was very surprised of his dialogue. So I was just wanting some feelers from you guys. What you think about it?
All right, we'll talk to the D-Man, who has an interesting perspective because he's a graduate of Northwestern, and of course is an Ohio State.
That's right. Yeah, I don't think Northwestern can beat Ohio State. Sorry, Dennis.
Thank you, Kay. No, it should be a blowout. What do you think, D-Man?
Mary Kay, thanks for calling in, by the way. No issues at all. No issues at all by me saying that Ohio State will beat Northwestern. Northwestern can win, but they won't win. And I've always said to my friends at Northwestern that my loyalties are scarlet and gray because I was born and bred a Buckeye. I just rented space at Northwestern for 4 years. That doesn't mean they're not my second favorite Big Ten team, but my favorite Big Ten team is definitely Ohio State. Regarding those scenarios that Mary Kay laid out, Alabama is not losing to Florida. No way, no how. Alabama will beat Florida, so we won't have to worry about that. We can shut up the Florida people who are claiming they belong. I think Clemson dump trucks Notre Dame, so that it's going to be a moot point. Clemson only have one loss. They'll be in. I think the Final Four stays as is because none of the Final Four is going to lose this upcoming week.
All right. Did the Big Ten make?
Excuse me. Notre Dame will lose, obviously, right. but they'll all stay in the top four.
All right. Did the Big Ten do that? Did they make the right decision, changing the rule going in?
Oh, absolutely, Les. And I know you say, well, how can you? You're a Buckeye honk, meaning I am. I just said I love the Buckeyes. Well, you're biased. Honestly, Les, truly, no matter whether I was a Buckeye fan or not, I would be wanting the conference, the Big Ten Conference, to want whichever team it was. It just happened to be Ohio State. Whichever team had a chance to get into the Final Four, the college football playoff, as a conference, you are obligated, you are duty-bound to do everything you can to make sure that team gets in. And the best way to do that,
they made up their own rule anyway. That rule wasn't in effect until they just made it up.
Right. These COVID rules have been arbitrary anyway, even the amount of time that you spend in isolation. So you take care of the team that has a chance to get you max exposure, make a ton of money for the conference. I have no issues at all with what the Big Ten did.
All right, let's take a break. We're coming back one more time. More Sports and Les Levine continues in a moment.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow, Andy Baskin from 92.3 The Fan will join us. You see us live from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can archive it anytime you want through whichever facility you use. Andy Baskin tomorrow night, and that's at 6 o'clock live. Dennis Manoloff is with us. D-Man, some bad news came down if you're an Indians fan, if you're an Omar Vizquel fan. I say bad news, but we don't really know what happened. So, you're going by reports that are out there. And what I do know, whether he's guilty or innocent, his chances, and this is unfortunate, especially if he's innocent, his chances of going to the Hall of Fame, which were pretty good recently, probably got shot out the window.
Yeah, very difficult to read the story in The Athletic today about the allegations of domestic abuse levied against Omar by his current wife, and I can't remember if she was in the process of divorcing him, but it's bad. And yeah, I mean, I'm a Hall of Fame voter, and I've said on this show that I'm going to vote for Vizquel, but I've got till December 31st, so I'm going to have to take a long look at this. This is going to have to be something that I consider. And while you're right, Les, that you are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, in situations like this, if that kind of news gets out or that kind of accusation gets out, it's going to sour people no matter what. And so I think his Hall of Fame chances, not that that's the most important thing in all this, but his Hall of Fame chances are pretty much done, given the allegations and how credible they sound, at least through the story. And so, you know, he wasn't guaranteed to get in this year because he had to make a leap from 50% to 75%, but you figured he could get some traction this year, and maybe in a few years, he'd be good to go, but I don't think he's going to sniff candidacy now.
Yeah, I got a call from an attorney today who said you have to understand she apparently applied for a divorce in August. She says she knew, now he's taking Omar's side. She knew that the worst thing that could happen to him is if an allegation comes out like this, and the timing is, according to this attorney, the timing of the announcement or of the story coming out seemed a little sketchy also. So we don't know. So I mean, we know if he's guilty, we know what should happen. If he's innocent, we should know what's going to happen. But this is meshing together, and I don't think anybody knows at this point.
Yeah, unless I hear you on what you're saying, and we need to see how the facts play out, if you will. But I'll say this: if that woman is lying, then she is beyond diabolical based on the stuff she was describing.
Yeah. Good point. All right, Dennis, great job tonight. As always, you're on WTAM 1100 tonight. What time would that be?
A little bit after 10 till mid, and then tomorrow, 7 to 10.
And we'll see you next week.
Oh, yeah. God willing, yes.
All right, D-Man, Dennis Manoloff. Catch him on the radio, 1100 WTAM. That'll do it for us. Andy Baskin joins me tomorrow. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.